Okay. So I don't know if I have a ton of announcements, but for those of you, I think a lot of you have already made your leaderboards. Beachbody did that trial of retention points last month, and it should be fully updated as of the 6th, so yesterday. So now you can go ahead and make your leaderboards, and they should all be accurate with Success Club points from last month. And then the only other thing is the virtual vacay. So I went live in the team page, but in case you guys missed it, we are hosting a virtual diamond retreat there are, I think, 10 other superstar diamonds. So Danielle Natoni, Bonnie Engel, Lindsay Matway, Brittany Leggett, Jamie Innes, Christina Delgado, Holly Hillier, Janelle Summers. There's a whole bunch of us. And all you have to do to earn your invite to that is we are currently in the second quarter. And you just have to get to diamond and hold diamond, or if you're a fallen diamond, regain diamond, or if you're already a diamond, just keep holding and be diamond, or advance. But basically your rank needs to be diamond or higher for 6 consecutive weeks in this second quarter. So you can start this Thursday and go, or the last date, I think, is May 21st. So you would have to wake up as a diamond on that day and then be diamond for the next, so that would be week 6, and then 5 more weeks. And then you'll get an invite to this virtual vacay. The virtual vacay is a virtual retreat held June 26th through the 28th. And the reason we're doing virtual is because we don't know what the hell is going to be happening in our world, but we still wanted to get together. What's really cool about it being virtual is that we are going to be able to bring almost every super trainer that we have to do live workouts and trainings with you. Autumn's coming on, Elise is coming on, Amwala is coming on, Joel Freeman's coming on. We have Kendra Hall who's going to do a training. I'm going to do a bartending class and do a virtual happy hour because, stick with your strengths. We will have some top leaders, so I'm sure I haven't asked you yet, Shannon, but I'll have you go in there one day, and Emily. And it's basically going to be 3 days, almost all day long of parties, so you can pop on. We will do workouts together all day. We're not going to work out all day, but we will have workouts every day and tons of different things that we can do. It's just going to be a freaking blast, and something that has never been done before. So get to diamond, stay diamond, advance back to diamond, whatever you need to do to join us on that virtual vacay. I think it's also going to be really epic for social media stuff. So for you to share about, because it is going to be exclusive. It is going to be invite only. So I think that's it for me. I don't know if Emily or if anyone else has an announcement. But otherwise, I guess I'll just address, we are going to do these calls while we're social quarantining. We're going to try to do these calls during the day like this. This way UK can also be on, because when we do it at our normal 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, it's like 2 a.m. In the UK. So this way more people can be on, and hopefully for those of us that are stateside, it frees up your evenings to do whatever you want, maybe get drunk. Guilty. So anyway, okay, and then it's so cool because I got a bunch of messages last week saying we need to get Shannon on the call, because Shannon and her team went 7-star last week, and I'm like, well, you are in luck because she is hosting our call this week. And I only saw your little sneak peek that you put on your stories, but I am here with my notepad ready to take notes about.
Oh gosh, you do not need the notes, but I mean, who knows? Maybe I'll drop a little gem for you.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. I always get
it because a couple of people messaged me too, and I was like, oh, well, turns out here I am. Okay, so that was you passing it over to me. All right, let's go ahead and get started, you guys. So I'm going to share my screen, which hopefully this works out without a hitch. All right, where am I at? There we go. Hold on. Okay. And I have not presented from Canva before, you guys, so just bear with me. All right, let me see if I can minimize that. Can I minimize this out of the way? Does that work? Is that annoying, you guys? How do I get this out of the way?
We can't see that, I've learned.
Oh, perfect.
So only you can. So
only I can. Oh, perfect. Okay, and it's not bothering me. Okay, great. So you guys can just see my screen now where it's the initial page. Awesome. Okay, well, I'm going to jump right in. You guys are going to laugh because I had a whole presentation created on Saturday, and then I was like, scratch that. I need to do something different. I woke up Sunday morning and was just kind of thinking like, I need to do something that I feel like when I first got started, I really needed and just had no idea how to navigate. But then also I feel like this is a topic, branding is kind of a topic that I'm still learning, and I don't feel like, I just feel like I'm still developing my own brand. So I was like, let me share a topic that, it's complex and it's ever changing because your brand is you and who you are. And as you grow, that brand is going to continue to develop and change along with you. But when I first got started, I thought, you know what, I wanted to think of a topic that I could share with you guys that, just to keep it simple, because when I first started as a coach, I remember talking to my friend who was in marketing, and she was like, you need a brand. You're like, what's your brand? Like, what are your colors? What are your this and your that? And I honestly was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I was like, I'm just posting and I have no idea what I'm doing. So I wanted to share this topic very simply, simplify it for you all, and hopefully just break it down in bite-sized chunks, so that if you're struggling in this area, it makes it super simple for you. So I'm not going to go necessarily really into like inviting or anything like that. I think Heather has an incredible call in the Coach Family page on inviting. And Ashley's talked about how we share and we don't sell. So those calls can kind of go along with this. But I'm going to talk about how I just sort of started off and developed this brand of mine. So you guys are going to laugh at this first slide because it is so bad, but I wanted to share it with you because this is how I started. I created a Facebook page, and this is what it looked like. It was called Fit by 40 and 4T. Like, it's just so bad. I cringe looking at it. But at the same time, I'm sharing this with you so that you understand, like, you don't have to have it all figured out. It doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be glamorous. It doesn't have to be, at the end of the day, you just don't have to have it all figured out at this point. You just have to get started. And so how I started was I created this free page with no cover photo. And basically what I asked myself when I first got started as a coach was, how can I add value? Who am I going to be? How can I add value outside of Beachbody? Because I knew that people could go to the website, to beachbody.com, and get Beachbody anywhere. But how could I, Shannon Harvey, add value to somebody's life outside of this? Who am I? What am I going to bring to their lives, right? And so I started to think about what my interests were, and this goes along with what your brand is going to be, but what are your interests outside of Beachbody? And so one of the things that and this could be anything, you guys, that doesn't have to be the same thing as my topic. Obviously, it could be anything that you're interested in. It has to be about you, and it has to be authentic to you. But the thing that I was super interested in, and always have been, is nutrition. If you follow me, I love talking about Trader Joe's. I'm constantly doing grocery hauls and all of that kind of thing. And so I thought, you know what? This is sort of in line with what I'm doing as a coach. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add value I started on Facebook, and this page is obviously from Facebook. And I just put out a post on my feed and basically just said, is there anybody that would be interested in a free group where we're sharing, different condiment replacements, where I'm going to do grocery hauls, where I'm going to talk about nutrition, where we're going to share recipes and that type of thing. And I just kind of put it out there. Would anybody be interested in joining a group like this. And so my friends started joining, and then my friends invited friends. And, it at this point, people have kind of dropped off, obviously, because I haven't been active in there in a year and a half. But it got up, I think, to like 150 followers. People who kind of joined the page. And I just started going live in there and adding value. I didn't even talk about coaching. I didn't talk about the fact that I had started as a coach. I didn't talk about Beachbody at all. I literally just found joy in this group and helping people with the nutrition piece. So that's kind of where I started. So that mean anything, right? That could mean that you really enjoy arts and crafts. That could mean that you really are like a wizard with DIY, do-it-yourself stuff. I don't know. You could be a teacher and you're at home right now and you are thinking of the most incredible things, activities to do with your children. And maybe you start a group where you're sharing this, like what interests you. Your whole interest is not being a coach and is not Beachbody. What interests you that where you could add value to somebody's life outside of that, and just start building relationships and making connections. And so I just thought it was really valuable to you guys to share, like, this is where I started, like no cover photo, and just started with a free group. And then from there, what I did is I went over to Instagram. So I want to talk about creating and establishing your unique brand. And so what I did from here is I created my Fire for Life page over on Instagram. And at this point, I really still did not know where to go from here. And so what my recommendation for you guys is to start with profile picture. If you don't have a profile picture, you better get profile picture, something without a filter, something that is bright, where you're smiling, where it's inviting. These are all going to be things that are going to attract people to you. So start with your profile picture, make sure you have one. And then what I want you guys to do, and what I did, is I just started brain dumping. And I talk to my coaches about this all of the time, is like, take out a good old fashioned scratch sheet of paper and just start writing the things that make you who you are. Because the real definition of brand is really just like, who's Shannon Harvey? Who am I? What am I interested in? What makes me me? So when I went to create my profile on Instagram, I wanted the top portion of the profile on my page to be a description of who I am outside of Beachbody, but also inclusive of Beachbody and inclusive of coaching, because I do want people to know, like, I'm here to help you get started either with your business or with your health and wellness goals. So I would just want to read it down to you. I'm a wife and I'm a boy mom. I'm kind of creating my profile, and I'm attracting people who are just like me, because at the end of the day, I want people who want to do Beachbody with Shannon Harvey. I don't want people to do Beachbody. I want people to join Shannon Harvey, and we're going to do Beachbody together. So I want to attract other women and other moms and maybe other athletes. So that's in my profile. I also really love the business side of things. And so I want to attract women who are hungry for that piece of it. I also want to attract women who are hungry for mimosas and wine. And I try to bring humor into pretty much everything that I do. I also am obsessed with animal print. So these are kind of the descriptions of who I am. So I literally just brain dumped. And when you have all those things written out, so I'll just kind of give you some suggestions, because I've talked to so many coaches who are like, I just don't know. I don't know. And that's okay. That's okay. I think that's why you want to just start writing, because I didn't know either. I didn't have any of this on my profile when I first started. I was kind of still, and if you've heard my story before, it's like, I was still kind of finding Shannon Harvey. I feel like coaching really helped me like settle into who I am as a person, even though it's late in life. I feel like it helped me really realize, like, this is who I am. And so when you write that, just kind of give you some suggestions. Like, these are things that when somebody thinks of me, Shannon, or you, whoever you are, you want them to think of that thing and you. So like when I get messages all of the time from people who are like, oh my gosh, I saw this leopard, whatever, this animal print, this cheetah swimsuit, shoes. I mean, constantly all the time, people are messaging me with like, I saw this and I thought of you. And so what's happening is that I'm establishing my unique brand, but it's helping me to connect with women in such a way that they're wanting to join me. They're not wanting to join Beachbody. They're connected to this thing that makes me me. And then they're like, but tell me about like what you're doing. So it starts that relationship and that conversation and that connection. And then it just kind of grows from there. So write things out. It could be, you know, your favorite brand. It could be your favorite kids clothes, or I don't know, maybe you play a musical instrument, or maybe you're a military spouse, or maybe you're super into dogs. Whatever it is, just write all the stuff out, right? And then make sure that whatever you are going to start posting about, right? Because your main page, your main feed is going to be who you are. Make sure that they are cohesive, right? Whatever you're posting about is going to go at the top of your profile. And then of course, how do I connect with you? So how do I get in touch with you? So I always tell people like, probably the biggest mistake is that you can post your link directly to your coach office, I think. Because if somebody just goes to your coach office and starts scrolling into your, and shopping and going into challenge packs or whatever the case may be, they're just getting lost in La La Land, and you have no idea that somebody clicked on your profile and went to your coach office. You have no idea. They completely sidestepped that whole conversation. And so you want to make sure that the link that you post on your profile is how they can connect with you, not how they can just go by themselves and get lost in La La Land and Beachbody Land and then never come back and have a conversation with you about it. And you'll never know that they did that. But you want them to be able to connect with you in some way. So I have a link to join my boot camp, a link to join my coaching, and then of course like Amazon faves and stuff like that. So you can pretty much put anything there, but you want to make sure that it's stuff that is going to have them reach back out to you rather than just get lost in La La Land and never come back to you and have a conversation. And then of course I share highlights. So if somebody goes to my page and they see like my trailer, they're laughing or whatever, they may comment on something in my highlights. So it's another way that I've kind of branded myself, and it also leads them back to having a conversation with me. So let's get into I want to talk about like my top tips with posting and with branding. Presets are literally $3 on Etsy. So I know that, you know, it's a really weird time right now. But if you can afford to get a preset or to purchase a preset, you literally just go to Etsy, put in whatever your vibe is. And so I can't remember what I put in as far as mine. I'm gonna have to think about that and get back to you guys. But I probably purchased, I don't know, more than a handful of presets and just started plugging in different pictures and seeing how I liked it on my profile. I feel like having something, if you don't have the money to do it, you guys, just making sure that you're adjusting the brightness and the fluidity on your pictures so that there's something that is making your profile cohesive, because that is going to obviously help people want to look at your profile and of course, you know, follow you back and all of that kind of stuff. It's just going to help you with the fluidity of your vibe, basically. So I posted both of these photos side by side because I wanted you guys to kind of see the difference between, like, the picture on the left is one that I had earlier in my profile. And I want to show you guys how I have like adjusted through, or you know, continue to learn and grow. And so again, you don't have to have things all figured out right from the very beginning. picture on the left is from, I don't know, probably 6 months ago or so. And to me, it just doesn't look as clean with the borders around it. It always looks more cohesive and clean when you take out the borders. And so your profile is very like crisp, right? There's no like separation around the sides of the pictures. And so that's what I kind of put here, clean it up a little bit. And then the picture on the right, I wanted to share this with you because this is a picture on the left of me when I first got started, and then a picture on the right is more recent. And so you can just kind of see how, even though I was posting, even though didn't have it all figured out, I still was posting on a daily basis and just kind of like feeling forward. So you don't have to know all the ins and outs of like, the right lighting and the right stance or whatever. You just have to feel forward and you're going to get it, right? So just the difference of sort of some of my first posts versus now. And then I want to kind of talk about like your storefront and consistency and that type of thing. And just share with you guys sort of things that I've learned as of most recently that have really helped. I talk to my team about this a lot as far as like your storefront being open. And so people will ask me all the time, like, how do you grow your followers? How do you this, how do you that, as far as like, growing your followers. How do you grow your followers? How did you do that? Da, 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 da. And at the end of the day, it's going to go back to that consistency and timing and your profile, right? And so if you're out there and you're doing all the things, right? You're out there and you're requesting to follow people and you're really trying to grow your network and you're doing those engaging tasks and you're like, people aren't following me back. You want to ask yourself, like, am I posting on a daily basis? Am I showing up? Because if you're trying to grow your network and you're trying to engage with people and their first stop is going to be your profile, they're going to go to your profile, they're going to click on your page and they're going to see when the last time you posted was. Their second stop is going to be to the little box that I showed you on the previous slide. And they're going to read about you. And then they're going to go up and see if you have a story, a most recent story. And so if those things aren't happening, you're not going to be able to grow your network because they think that your store is closed. Your store needs to be open. And one of the things that I have kind of played around with, because Instagram algorithms are like ever changing. And so as of most recently, one of the things that I've tried to do consistently is, well, not only posting on a consistent basis, and so trying to at least post once a day, once every other day. I have found now you don't have to post multiple times a day in order to get that interaction. But if you post once, every day or every other day, it's still going to have people, like your store is still open, the lights are still on. But what I found is allowing my followers to realize like a time that I'm posting too. So, like not necessarily just posting like in the morning and then the next day I'm posting in the evening. And then, because, you want to give people that consistent rhythm of like, when am I going to hear from this person? When am I going to see from this? When am I going to see this person? Because I feel like when they can count on, they know that I'm going to post probably around 5 or 6 every single night Pacific time. And then they start looking for me. And that then leads to more engagement, them following me back, right? And inevitably those conversations that we want. Right. And then I also want to talk then about creating visual interest. So let's go to the next slide. So this is something that I learned over time, as you could see. But as you can see from when I very first started, this was a picture of me. And basically what this picture is saying is, hi, look at my shake. Hi, it's Shannon. Here's my shake. And then I wanted to post the picture on the right. So the picture on the right is going to open up a conversation. So the picture on the left is a closed door, right? It's literally just like I'm posting this photo and it's not inviting anything. It's not creating any type of interest, right? And so when you really start developing that brand and who you are, you start thinking like, how can I create conversation through my brand, right? And so the picture on the right now is inviting a conversation. It's saying like, it's having people think to themselves like, what are you drinking? Where did you get your jeans? Where did you get your phone case? Where did you get that hat? What lipstick are you wearing? How do you do your hair? And so how I've looked at it now is like, okay, I have this really cool brand. I feel like, this really cool brand that I'm like settling into. And it's like inviting these conversations. So when I go to take a photo, I try to think about what is it in the photo that is going to ignite interest? What is it in my photo that more, I try to think of at least a handful of things that people are going to ask me about my picture outside of the caption. So the caption can, is a whole different ball game and a whole different story, and that we can go into storytelling and all of that. But as far as just like visual interest and you branding yourself, what I constantly am thinking about every time I post a photo is like, how am I going to, because at the end of the day, what coaching, how we build our teams, right? Or have people join us is conversations, right? That's what the invite is. So how am I going to have and create as many conversations as I possibly can? And so that's what I feel like I'm doing with the picture on the right. So constantly creating that visual interest. And that could be, you guys, going back to stories. So a lot of times I will, in the morning I'll want, you want to be real, but at the same time you do want conversations. So you can show up like a ragamuffin in your stories, which is absolutely fine. And it's good to do sometimes because you want real people, right? But sometimes in order to invite those conversations, right, do your hair, put a headband on, add things in that are going to make people ask you a question, like put a cute shirt on. Maybe it says something on it, right? Have your necklace out like this, put some earrings in, whatever it is that creates that visual interest to where it's just going to spark that conversation. The more that you can do that, the more that you're making connections, the more that you're going to brand yourself, the more that your business is going to be successful, right? So do you see how this kind of all plays apart? So let's go. I just wanted to share with you my profile now. So we're going down, we went from, the top, the profile, to the individual pictures. And now I want to show you a screenshot of my Instagram profile. This is recent, from a couple of days ago. But how am I clearly articulating my brand now that I have brain dumped, now that I have written all the things that make me me, now that I kind of know, like, okay, this is where I want to focus. These are the people that I want to attract. These are the people that I want to hang out with and do this thing with. So now how do I articulate that to the world, right? And so as you can see here, I always try to keep those things, those topics, those areas of interest in at least the top 9 to 12 photos, right? So as you're kind of looking at my profile here, you can see there's animal print, right? So there's a bikini picture, I'm wearing animal print. There's multiple, I'm sure. It's almost in every photo. And I don't even mean to do that, but it's just, I'm a little obsessed. So you're seeing the animal print. You're seeing Sean and I have champagne. There's multiple pictures of drinking, which is probably got a little carried away. But you're seeing my family. So again, it's going back to, I'm a wife. I'm a mom of 2 boys. I love animal print. I'm sarcastic. I am loving life, right? I am a businessman. Like, you're going to see some coaching posts in there, right? So you can see that I'm in my workout gear. You can tell that I'm working out with my boys. And I'm like, you can tell by the top 9 to 12 pictures exactly what I'm about, exactly what who I'm trying to attract, right? So I want to give you guys just a couple of quick tips because when I first started and I listened to a call about branding, I was like, okay, this is real cute. I'm not going to be able to do that. Yeah, okay, bye. And I tuned it out. I was like, I could never do that. Like, I feel like we were looking at Ashley's profile and I was like, yeah, that's really good. But you're just thinking like, that's too hard. I'm not going to be able to do this. So I want to give you a couple tips on how I started like breaking this down into chunks that were simple to me to think about, and really allowed me to create this, you know, visual brand. So and I think, I forget who it was that was talking about it, but I thought it was an incredible idea. So one day a week, sometimes more than that, if I get ready, I do my hair, I do my makeup, I take pictures, multiple pictures in different outfits in different places in my house, or I go outside or what have you. So I plan ahead and I stockpile photos. And then what I do is, or like, let's say that we're going out for a walk. So this just recently happened where we went out for a walk and I was like, okay, babe, we're coming around the corner. Will you take a photo of me and the boys? And then we got down the street. I was like, okay, quickly, will you just take a picture of me and Rocky? It takes 2 seconds, right? But I just start thinking about these things like as I'm walking or I'm in the house or I'm like, oh, I have this cute outfit on. I should probably just snap a photo really quick. And I just have that in the back of my head. And then I stockpile those, right? So I put those in my drafts. And then how I chunk this down. So as we're looking at this, this is how I've broken this down. I know that I want to have a transformation picture every 9 to 12 photos. So as you can see here, I have my transformation picture. So that's going to be one of my photos, right? Because I want to talk through this because a lot of people get overwhelmed by the posting. And so how can you simplify this as much as possible? So every 9 photos, I know that one of them is going to be my transformation. I know that one of my every 9 to 12 is probably going to be a face shot or something close up with me and my boys, with myself, whatever. I know that one of my every 9 to 12 photos is going to be a picture of me and Sean, or I'm going to bring Sean in and my family in somehow. I know that one of my 9 to 12 photos is going to be of me coaching in a workout outfit, posting some type of workout, bringing coaching in some type of form or fashion, right? And then probably bringing humor in, and then probably bringing animal print in, then probably bringing mimosas in, right? So now I'm going back up, okay, my brand. What are my pictures going to, how is that going to reflect into my top 9 to 12 photos? And then that helps me plan and go, okay, well, I know that tomorrow I'm going to have a transformation picture. Easy peasy. I already have one locked and loaded to go. Okay. And then as of recently, I've started to bring in a black and white dance of either Sean and I, me and the boys, you know, us on a coaching trip, something like that. So that one of my top 9 can be of something that I do every single day that brings me joy is dancing. So I know that that's going to be an easy post for me. I'm just going to bring that into my profile in my top 9. So start thinking about that. And when you start thinking about it like that and chunking it down into pieces, it makes it easier to put those posts out, but then also to articulate your brand out to the world. And when I talk about saving drafts, if you go down to the little plus sign, you can load pictures. And as you click next on Instagram, you can actually save photos into your drafts. And so, you know, once or twice a week, I save out the photos that I'm going to be posting throughout the week. And then what I can see in my head is when I look at my profile, I can see what photo makes the most sense next. So you really want to look at the layout, and you want there to be variety, right? And so you want there to be a body shot, right? A picture of your face. And then here I look at this, I go, okay, I haven't had a photo of me doing like a selfie in the mirror. That's going to be my next photo. Perfect. Okay, let's go outside to the porch. That's going to be my next photo. So I start thinking about it like I'll look back at like my 18 photos. So like here we're in the top 9. I'll go back 9 previous and go, oh, perfect. We were outside that day. I'm going to mimic that photo, because people don't all the time scroll all the way back through your profile. So if you go down like 36 photos or something like that, you can duplicate that again, and people aren't going to, you know, it's not going to get boring or repetitive, but it's also going to make your life a ton easier while also communicating your brand out, right? And then again, you guys, I always, and I talked about this on the National Wake Up Call, and I talk about it every single day, because it's something that from the very first day that I started as a coach, I've fallen back on, and it's the vital behaviors. And so it's funny because it's like, okay, we're talking about branding. How are we going to talk about the vital behaviors? The vital behaviors, literally, I live and I breathe, and it's what has helped me be successful as a coach, is that every single day from the first day that I started as a coach, I've done my vital behaviors. And I bring those at any time that I'm like, I don't really know what to post about, or I don't really know what to talk about, I fall back on those vitals. So I think about the personal development that I listened to that day. And it's become part of my brand. People like will like, I have the ability to share with them, we all do, things that we've learned from our personal development that morning. And that could even, go, that can carry into your post that night. But part of my brand has been that the personal development that I have read on a daily basis or listened to on a daily basis, or that makes me happy. But I always fall back on those vital behaviors, and it's really been the driving force of my business still to this day. And it's what helps you be successful really as a coach. So if you're struggling, always fall back on those vitals, you guys, all the time, no matter what. So I didn't want this to be very long because I wanted, it was still 40 minutes, but I wanted to open it up for questions. But I kind of ended the presentation like this: how will you slay your day? Because I feel like part of my brand now has become like a trigger, I don't know what you would call it, like a trigger sentence or something like that, or like a sentence, or a, what's the word that I'm looking for? Like a motto almost. So if you think about like Danielle Natoni, and she starts every single morning on her stories, and she's like, happy Tuesday, welcome to Rise and Energize with Danielle. Or you think about Leticia. Leticia always, she's constantly saying, it's a great day to be grateful. And so this just happened where it was like, I just started with my dance videos in the morning, is every single day I was saying like, how will you slay your day? And I feel like that's just kind of like morphed into part of my brand, is this like trigger motto sentence that, it's kind of like who I am. Like, I want to wake up every single day. I want to slay as a coach. I want to slay as a mom. I want to slay as a wife. So how will you slay your day, and how will you slay your business? Not that you have to have a motto or a trigger sentence, but it's just kind of become part of my brand. So I wanted to leave you guys with that and open it up to questions. I cannot see the chat. Okay. Hi guys. Okay, I can't necessarily, let me see. Does anyone want to come off mute and just ask questions? I don't think that we have too big of a group.
Shannon, it's Karma. I have a question.
Hi. Hey, girl.
So, and of course I love your dance videos in the mornings. Do you do those literally every morning, or do you pre-plan those as well sometimes, like just to save time? I don't know how long it takes you to do one of those videos and put it together.
I do them every morning.
Rock on.
Yeah. But now that I know how to do it, it doesn't take me that long. So
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's something that, it's just another thing that you do. It's like repetition.
Right.
And so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't feel like you have to do the dance videos though. No pressure.
No, but I was thinking in terms of planning, and I like the idea, of course, of saving time, like we all do, of taking a whole bunch of snaps ahead of time and stockpiling them so that you're ready to go.
Yes.
So you're not like, oh, I got to get a picture in today, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think that a lot of pressure, and then that's part of what leads you to kind of just going willy-nilly or throwing something out there, is, that not being prepared ahead of time.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Were people having a hard time hearing or getting in?
No,
Okay, I just want to make sure.
not that I know. I didn't see anything about hearing, and I just approved people. That's really annoying that Zoom does that, because I was literally approving the entire call. So if you're a host, what do you do? But I guess it's safe. That is something, apparently Zoom is a really crappy company, guys. So Danielle Natoni, married to Darren, who is like all things secure, says all of your meetings should now be password protected. So people have to enter a password. I'm taking my nails off. They have to enter a password to join, and you should start a couple minutes before the hour, a couple minutes after, because when you start right at the hour, Zoom like knows there's a ton of people doing that or something. I don't know. So those are 2 things you should do. But do you say you can't see the chat, Shannon?
Now I am looking. There were a lot of questions about presets.
Well, I will say Aram did a call for us last year sometime. I have a preset that he made for me, but I don't love it, so I never talk about it. But he does have a bunch of other great presets, and he did a call on how, if you go into the files section of the team page, the Coach Family page, you can watch his call that he did sometime last year, but he dives all into here's how you import the preset, and then here's how you can edit within the preset. And then there was a question, what do you think about wearing the same thing in a bunch of pictures, even if you're in different poses?
So and this goes to like trips we take, right? So when we go on trips, we're taking photos. And so what I will do is I'll save those so that I'm not posting multiple pictures in my 9 and, you're constantly seeing that same outfit or that same, because that's a really good question, especially about hairstyle that I'll say in a second. But like even this week, I posted a picture, it might've been last week, from NLC, which was in February? So I just save them. You just continue to stockpile, and so that you're not busting out the same thing all the time, but just save them for a future. It doesn't have to be that you're talking about that outfit or whatever your caption can be completely separate from what you're doing in the picture. So like I posted a picture, I feel like I posted a picture from NLC, and it was might be a coaching topic or something like that. But you can kind of sprinkle them throughout rather than like doing them back to back to back. I did used to have a lot of people ask me about wearing my hair the same way, because when I 2 years ago, I used to wear my hair the exact same way every single day, just in a bun. And I just would post, I just posted my picture with my hair in a bun every single day. And so that is one thing that I've been more conscious about, is like switching, making sure that you're switching it up. It just continues to create that conversation and, or I guess if you wear the hair the same way every day, it creates a conversation too. See any other questions? Carol Baskin. Oh boy. Does anybody have questions that they didn't put in the chat?
Hey, I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, so like whenever you're creating your post, do most of like what you're talking about, do you get a lot of that from just like PD, or do you like sometimes I guess I have like, if I have something like a topic I want to talk about, but I don't really have a picture to go with it, do you just like type that in your notes and save it, or like what do you do for something like that?
Yeah, so that is a really good question. I should have talked about that more. So when I'm listening to personal development, or you guys, I don't know if you guys do this, but I think before I go to sleep at night for like an hour, my mind is going. And I'm thinking about, different things will come to my mind. I'll be like, oh my gosh, that would be such a good post. So I will literally, roll over and I will put it in my notes all the time. That could be multiple times a day. It could be when I'm listening to personal development. It could be when I'm laying in bed. But just stockpiling that and using it and sprinkling it throughout. So I just have random thoughts in my notes, and I'm like, oh, that, on a day where I don't have anything to post about, I pull that up and then I, can expand on that topic. But it gives me at least like that little like, oh yeah, that's kind of a good thought for today. Or I basically just go based on how I'm feeling that day. Like what did I do today? How am I feeling? And that kind of spurs a post as well.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
So I was going to type it in, but you talked about the branding at every 9 to 12. You talked about nutrition being part of your branding, but you don't put your nutrition in your pictures.
Yes.
Okay.
I do not, because I think it looks messy, but that some people make it look really, really good. I just have not figured out a way. Anytime that I have I don't know if it's my phone or what. Maybe this is another thing that I'm really bad at. I'm not good at making my food look nice on my profile. There are some people that slay with that. But I just have not tackled that.
I just didn't know if you chose like your top 2 or 3 and focused on those more.
I also took that out of my profile. Don't necessarily have nutrition as part. Do I focus on it a lot? Like, do I talk about it a lot in my boot camps and group? Yes. And I post a lot about it on my stories. It's something that I'm interested in, but I feel like it's not something that is like my top 7 things that I want to talk about anymore.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I think that leads to another thing. It's like and I kind of said it at the beginning of this call, is like your brand can continue. You're ever changing and you're growing as a human and as a coach. So your brand is also going to be ever changing and growing along with you.
Hey, hi Shannon.
Hi.
Hey, Carl. 2 questions. One is, I've heard 2 schools of thought on it, so I'm just curious with yours. Do you go through and clean out some of your pictures and edit your page, or do you just keep it going the whole time? And then my other question is, how on earth do you save your pictures to drafts and IG? What?
Yeah. Okay. So the first, I do not go back. I'm just like, I actually think it's kind of cool if somebody went back to my profile, especially somebody who's thinking about joining my team and is like, look at how big of a shit show this girl used to be, because it was bad. So I'm like, go back and look, everyone's doing it right now. But I've grown over time, and I want people to see, like, I didn't come out of the womb and nail it. I did not a very good job at the very beginning. I just kept showing up and being like, I'm going to get it. So, I'm going to get it. And even still, I feel like I'm learning and I'm adjusting and I'm growing. But I leave it because I think it's pretty cool for people to go back and see, and for myself to go back and see like how much I am continuing to grow and change. And then how you save drafts is you click on the plus sign when you log into Instagram. Click on the plus sign at the bottom, right, where you're going to add the picture, and then next, right, get it to where you want the saturation, the brightness, and everything. Click next, and then put a dot in. You don't have to write your thought yet, but where you're going to write and transcribe or whatever, put a dot so that you can that it will save, and then back out of it. And when you go to back out of it, it will say save draft, and you say yes. And then at the very top, when you go in to the plus sign, again, if you exit out and go back into the plus sign, you will see at the very top, it'll say manage your drafts. If you pull, I don't even know if I can show you, but I'll record my.
Got it. Yeah, I see it. That's awesome.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Put a dot in, of course. Yeah, that's great. Okay.
So now I just save them out for a week or 2 at a time.
Yeah, I've been using Planoly, so I love that. That's great. Thank you. And congratulations.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Shannon?
Yes.
Is it working? Okay. My videos be weird. Did you have to fake it till you make it in the beginning? Kind of like, as far as sometimes my confidence, I think it's mainly a personal development thing, but there's times I'm just like, God, like there's so many people doing this. Like what can I bring that's different? Even though, and then there's days I'm like, I'm a badass. I can do it. Like I feel so bipolar sometimes with this.
Oh gosh, that's such a hard question because I really dislike fake it. Like just that term. And I don't know, somebody else said something that I liked better and I can't remember it right now, but I don't ever feel like I want to fake it. But I definitely do have days where I struggle. And so I choose to share what I want to share. But I think from the very beginning, I think I got to a place where I just said enough was enough. And I wanted this so bad that when I started coaching, I made sure that I woke up every single day and I just told myself, like, I'm going to crush this. And there have been days, you guys, that have been so freaking difficult that you guys know. I mean, it's a roller coaster some days. But that is not ever going to be enough to make me fall out of love with this. I might, it's just going to be a challenging day, but I don't, that's a hard.
Can I answer that from my perspective?
Yes. Answer that question. But I'm like, I don't know how to answer that.
Shannon was on my radar super early, into her coaching. Now, you guys probably know, but I can't keep up with things anymore. So I don't usually invite on a personal level. I just do public invites. I don't engage with people necessarily who engage back. Like when people answer polls, I don't, I just can't keep up with it. And so I didn't really know, or I for sure didn't know who Shannon was until she joined. And then I'm not sure why all of a sudden I saw her Instagram. I think she had texted me, and then I went and checked out her Instagram, and she had only been a coach for like a week, and I went and looked at her stories. First of all, I'm like, okay, well, she's super cute, but also she was looking into the camera and talking on stories. And I was like, whoa, who is this girl? And that's all she was doing was just, I feel like what happened with Shannon, I mean, she has completely grown and changed and like has always been interesting, but so probably all of you guys are very interesting, but it's learning how to be interesting in a one-dimensional way, because that's what pictures are. It's one-dimensional. So she's always been interesting, but now she's figured out how to become interesting in a one-dimensional way. And, but I feel like Shannon was always going to show up with whatever she had. Right. So that's what I realized. Like, that's how I know if someone's going to be a good coach or not. And there's people that are good coaches that aren't out of the gate like Shannon was, where always on stories. But I can usually tell if someone is coachable, if they are going to do something when they don't necessarily feel ready or they feel silly. And her and I talked, I was like, whoa, who are you? Like, we need to get on the phone because you're talking into the camera. And that takes new coaches a long time. And to talk into the camera and be interested and excited about what it is that you're doing when you're just sitting at home. That's hard to do because you have this complex about like, I'm so boring, I don't do anything, especially now. We're all home in this quarantine situation. It can feel like I have nothing to say, I'm so boring. Shannon has always worked out of the house. Like even before, her main job is working out of the house. So most of her stories, like 99% of her stories are done from home. And yet it's interesting. But I think the thing is she's so much better now than she was, but she didn't stop. She didn't hold herself back from showing up with wherever she was. And then, because that's the only way to get better too, is to continue just showing up and learning your brand, like learning your voice and how to speak and, what you like visually and stuff like that. And I have gone back, even if you go to Shannon's highlights, I've gone back into Shannon's highlights a couple months ago, and you can see even even her stories have changed and improved, but you still showed up every single day. And so as someone looking in, that's all it takes, guys, is it just takes showing up, feeling silly, feeling like you don't know what you're doing, but being excited about your life, because then people get excited with you. So that's what I will say. You don't have to be good. We all suck at first. If you were able to scroll back a little bit, you'd see I sucked too. Like I had no visual brand. I didn't have a lot of confidence. I faked it till I made it, right? Maybe that's what you're thinking of, Shannon. You don't have to fake it, but you can faith it, like have faith that it's going to happen until it happens. But that's what I noticed about Shannon was she was always ready to show up where she was that day, with whatever she had.
Thank you both.
Yeah. And I think, it came from me, from you, Ash, like from me looking and seeing what was possible for my life. And I think that we say that sentence so often. It's like, oh, you showed me what was possible for my life. But it's like, Ashley Molstead went to, she was from here. She worked at Nike. It's like, guys, you don't have to have accomplished anything to know that you also can if somebody else did. So every day, even when I had made a couple $100s, I was like, I could be a millionaire. I could be a top 10 coach. And I just thought that in my head because somebody else did it before me. And so why the fuck not me? And that is how I started showing up every single day before I had any or did anything with coaching. Anything else, guys? Keep it spicy. Oh yeah.
Hey, I actually have a really random question.
Yes.
You have kind of a potty mouth too. This is something I struggle with. Is I definitely have a potty mouth. I try to keep it respectful on Instagram and some of my posts, and it's like this fine line. And I'm always wondering, like, how do you be true to yourself? Because if you're going to be in my circle, you just got to be used to this is my language. Like, I'm going to drop F-bombs and other words. But how do you be respectful on Instagram? Have you like navigated that, or like do you have a thought on it?
Even last week, I had a struggle last week where I flubbed. And I think you're going to have times where you think, am I doing this right? Or am I going to offend people? And Ashley's probably laughing because I text her, I'm like, oh my gosh, I so want to be myself, but I also don't want to alienate people and I don't want to offend them. And we had this whole great conversation about like, if I offend you, and I'm still learning that, you guys, I'm still learning that. I'm still getting better at that. And I'm still working on that every single day. There's not going to be a place where you just like, I've arrived, but at the same time, I'm getting better and feeling more comfortable with like, if I offend you, then you're not going to be my tribe. Okay. Repeat that, Shannon. If I offend you, you're not going to be my tribe, and that's okay. And I definitely have held myself back from swearing or even you guys, part of how my stories have changed is that I used to not like listen to rap music or dance like a crazy person. And I've just gotten to a place where I'm like, I don't care. I just don't, you have to be okay with offending people if you're going to be true to who you are. And that's me saying it out loud because I am still working on that every single day. So don't think that I'm just like telling you. I still am working on that every day. But know that the only way to attract your tribe is to offend people sometimes.
Awesome.
And be your people.
Thank you. I was just curious.
I always hijack people's calls, and I know we have to hop off now. But just real quick, I swear a lot more in real life than I do in my captions. There's something about the F word written out in captions. I very, very rarely write out fuck on captions because it feels so much more intense than if you say it flippantly in your stories. So that could also be something that you try. Like if it feels weird to be using fuck, because even saying it in that context where it's not flowing in, it feels weird and really sharp and intense. And that's how I feel like sometimes it comes off in text. So I'll say like TF, like the fuck, or AF, as fuck, but I won't usually type out fuck, but I'll say it all the time on my stories because then people can hear it, like they can get my personality behind it. So that could be something that you try too,
Capital letters, F-U-C-K. You guys, thank you so very much for having me. I still feel like I'm learning so much. So, thank you for letting me share with you today. I'm sorry that I was nervous because, of course, I'm sure you could tell I was nervous, but I still get freaking nervous to do this type of stuff. So, love you guys. I hope you are staying safe and healthy and just freaking rocking your business right now. So, anything else? I think we've got to jump off. We're jumping off? Okay.
Yeah, thank you. It was awesome.
All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.